It is my pleasure to rise today to speak on the Mineral Resources Suitable and Sustainable Amendment Bill today. This is a bill that is very important to my patch, my electorate of Mildura, that covers 37,500 square kilometres and which is very, very, very rich in mineral sands and, in fact, rare earths. So I'll get onto that a little bit later. But obviously want to highlight the provisions that will allow a more streamlined planning framework and make things a little more swift on the ground, because some of these projects with regard to mineral sands and rare earths have taken 10, 15 years to get off the ground. Some of them are still in the very infant stages, such as Avonbank, which hopefully now they're up to the last stage of submitting that work plan, so hopefully this will streamline that project as well. I've been doing a lot of speaking with friends and colleagues and contacts that I have within the mining industry, because they are very thick on the ground in somewhere like Mildura, like Donald, like Oyen. So there are plenty of people around that have either worked in the industry, currently worked in the industry, and people who are actually degree qualified geologists in Mildura. There's actually a lot of them, which may surprise some people, surprise me. So I have been doing a lot of, we'll call it consultation, speaking to and getting all sides of the story, particularly when concerns are raised with my office regarding some of this bill in particular and this amendment. And there has been, as the member for Albert Park stated, there has been some concern to my office in particular about the belief, somewhat misplaced, that this will remove regulation from the mining industry in this state, and it will not. All it seeks to do is to streamline that work planning process so that we can get projects off the ground more quickly, because as we know, demand for mineral resources and rare earths is growing day by day by day. So we need those mineral resources, the mineral sands, the rare earths, to keep moving that investment in renewable energy moving forward, and all of the electronics that we use every day in our phones, our computers, everything these days. We live in the digital age, and mineral resources are a key element of that. Not to mention, like the member for Eildon stated earlier, some really important medications that come out of rare earth deposits and mineral sands and different mineral elements. So the concern around removing regulation around mining and quarries, I mean, the regulation is good, and we need regulation in a sector like this, of course, and sometimes, you know, we tend to over-regulate certain industries, but this is just getting rid of the red tape, and we don't often see that come through this place. Usually we're adding more red tape until we find it hard to move, but this one actually is going to streamline that process for the industry. And it is, you know, one of those occasions where the outcome will be quite positive and really practical on the ground, and that's what we like to see, particularly with the Nats. We are practical, pragmatic people, and we like practical solutions, so it is a good thing. And I know that when we start talking about mines and quarries, it makes some people immediately start twitching at the very thought of, you know, digging holes in the ground, but this, like I said, mineral resources are critical not only to things we use every day and things that will become more important into the future, like electric cars. Can't have an electric car without nickel. Phones, the ability to develop renewable energy and the investment going into the same part of the world, up in my part of the world, where we have 360 sunny days a year on average to harvest that solar energy. In fact, I've got some facts that I could bamboozle you with, and why not? I've got 5 minutes. Solar photovoltaic plants, wind farms and electric vehicles require more critical minerals to build than their fossil fuel-based counterparts. For context, a typical electric car, and this makes me giggle when you start weighing things up against electric car versus fossil fuels and all that kind of stuff. A typical electric car requires 6 times the mineral inputs of a conventional car, and an offshore wind plant requires 13 times more mineral resources than a similarly sized gas-fired plant. Since 2010, the average amount of mineral resources needed for a new unit of power generation capacity has increased by 50% as the share for renewables in new investment has risen. So we can see why we need to streamline the process of pulling those minerals out where we need them in a carefully planned way, a carefully regulated way, of course, and the environmental impacts that will have. And of course, after the life of the mine has ended, and some of these mines that are being planned at the moment have 25-year work plans written for them. Some of them they expect to have a lifespan of up to and above 40 years. So it is really important. And like I mentioned earlier, there's quite a few projects in my patch in the past, almost the immediate future, although immediate future is probably talking 10 years ago, but that's immediate when we talk about mine life. The Iluka Sands Mine at Oyen, and soon we'll have the Donald Rare Earths and Mineral Sands project, to mention a couple. But there's also neighbouring projects like Avonbank, which goes into Lowen, and the Goshen mine, which is in Murray Plains. So that has great benefits, not only for the industry itself, but also for the entire region. So the Donald Rare Earth and Mineral Sands project has been subject to a detailed evaluation over many years, and all main regulatory approvals have been achieved or are well advanced. They are just about ready to kick off. The project evaluation, the technical work has included the completion of the mine planning, which is what we're talking about, the recovery after it's ended, the processing plant and the infrastructure design's been done, engineering design's been done, product transportation, sales, marketing, and the major regulatory approvals have been done, with the exception of the project work plan. So hopefully now we can streamline this and bring that project to life more quickly. The DMS project will be, and can be, certainly a unique contributor to the local community, and they have committed themselves to a long-term generational project, and it will be with a life of up to 40 years. The company themselves have committed themselves to extensive community consultation, and it believes it has an obligation and an opportunity to make a sustained and longer-term contribution to the region, and it does. They'll adopt a policy of seeking to employ local people with all of the jobs that will come from this, and that is a priority. They'll only relocate specialist skills, and like I said before, there are many qualified, highly university qualified geologists and experts on the ground in our region, so they will only relocate specialist skills when they need it. A local procurement policy is also in place too, and that spans from catering services in the mess halls, the trades specialists, and these mines also, housing's a real issue in our area, as it is everywhere. They will need to house their workers somewhere, so the legacy that will be left after these mines is not only great for the industry itself, but we are left with accommodation, workers' accommodation, and things that can be used afterward, or indeed that is multi-use, which is fantastic. We saw that with Oyen. There are 18 new house builds this year in Oyen, so that town is booming afterwards, and they have a very active, committed community that is helping Oyen thrive after the mine has closed down. Also, other mines in planning stages, like I said, in neighbouring electorates, the Goshen project, the Avonbank project, which really do have major benefits for the entire region, because we are, there's a lot of distance between towns, between mine sites. Fly in, fly out is not always an option unless you are close to Mildura, that has an exceptional regional airport, and we are very lucky to have that regional airport in Mildura. But a lot of it is driving. Now imagine trying to drive in and out of these mine sites, and it might be tough at the moment because you do have to dodge a lot of potholes, but imagine not being able to dig a quarry and try and fix these potholes without the mining industry. Hopefully this amendment will allow the quarries to open up, the ones that are in the planning stages at the moment. Maybe we can get some of those potholes fixed just a little bit quicker, so we can get the mine workers in and out safely, and not to mention their families, and get them home to their families as well. So mineral resource mining, rare earths and mineral sands is growing exponentially in the Mildura electorate, and it is really exciting for things to come.